You once again stepped into the world of survival horror. Good luck. Alright, welcome back to Resident Evil 2. In the last video, right before we saved and ended the video, we picked up a lighter, which we're probably gonna want to, take note of and remember that we have that. In one of the previous videos, we found a fireplace that needed to be lit. So perhaps that is something that we can use the lighter on. The main hall theme in this video game that we are playing is like maybe one of my top 5 favorite video game songs of all time. It's so good. I love just sitting in the main hall and just chilling there. It's such a great song, and again, why I think that the Resident Evil 2 Remake soundtrack is so disappointing. It plays once, vaguely, when you first step into the RPD. It just plays a few familiar notes, and then every single other time that you go through the main hall, it's completely silent. And it's the biggest bummer in the world. Resident Evil 3 Remake does the soundtrack so much better. But that's okay, I'm gonna stop saying that. So this is the fireplace that we came across before. I was saying last time how the presentation in this game looks like way better than it did in Resident Evil 1. I don't necessarily think that the pre-rendered backgrounds look much different. They look about the same. I think it's the art style that's better, because in Resident Evil 1, the original version anyway, the backgrounds all looked very cartoony, like they just didn't fit the tone of the horror. And these are a lot more realistic and, dirty, and there's blood everywhere, and it looks sufficiently horror, whereas the original Resident Evil has, like, cheesy wallpaper, which I love. I love the vibe of that game. But this game is a lot more appropriate, and I think it makes the visuals in this game stand out just a little bit more. So we're going to just take all these gems out, because we can go actually use them now. I am very excited for the new DLC for Resident Evil 8. I'm excited for the story stuff, because that's going to be cool. It's always nice to see story DLC in a Resident Evil game, but honestly, like, I'm just excited to play through Resident Evil 8 again in third person. Like, that's gonna change the experience dramatically, and I'm excited to replay it. And also gives me an excuse to replay it on this channel. So, that should be fun. Why am I putting these away after just taking them out? What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. That's okay. I think we will need to do that in this video, but I think I'm going... There's like one of 2 directions you can go right now, and I'm going the other way. Those guys, do not waste bullets on them. You never need to, like, really interact with those zombies. And eventually they just disappear. So you really genuinely don't need to touch those zombies. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to dodge around them. Eventually those zombies will straight up just disappear. A casual tip I have for someone who maybe hasn't played this game before, or is a little bit intimidated of this game. A great idea is to clear a path, pick up any herbs that are in your path, and immediately run them back to the closest safe house. Just stock up on herbs. That's something that I would do when, like, learning a Resident Evil game for the first time. Is just go absolutely hog wild with herbs. The map isn't very important. I very rarely use the maps in these games. The maps only get useful in, like, the modern games where you could see, like, locations of things. Like, Resident Evil 4 has got a great map. It shows you where the treasures are. It shows you just a whole bunch of real nice stuff. Whereas in these games, it's not that useful. If you don't really know where you're going, I guess it's good to plot out a route on your map, but other than that, it's not really needed, I would say. So something that you might notice, I don't know why this happens with certain games that I record, but you see that the left side of the screen in the aspect ratio, the 4:3 aspect ratio, the black bar on the left side of the screen is thicker than the one on the right side of the screen. I do not know why that is. I don't think it actually interferes with the, like, aspect ratio of the game. Like, you're not missing anything on any side of the screen. It's just, that's just how it looks, and I really couldn't explain why. I tried to fix it, because the same thing happened in Resident Evil 1. And I fixed it in Resident Evil 1 where I moved it over a little bit, and I added a thicker black bar to the side. I was going to do that with this one, but I figured, you know what, I'm just going to leave it as is. I don't need to touch it. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know a whole lot about other versions of this game, because as I said, the GameCube version is the one I grew up with. It's the first one that I played, and it's really the only version of the original game that I've played. I believe that it is, besides the Dreamcast version, I think, like, the definitive port of this game. And I think the only reason people say that the Dreamcast one is better, I think, is because it's slightly higher resolution, I think. I think that, like, the character models look slightly better in that version, but I could be wrong. It could be that the GameCube version is the best looking version, but I think it's a tie between GameCube and Dreamcast. And I know the N64 version included new notes that you can find throughout the game that, like, tie into, I think, Resident Evil 0, which is interesting because, of course, Resident Evil 0 was supposed to be an N64 game first. So I guess when they were porting to the system, they were like, you know what, let's just tie it into that other game that we're working on. So I'm assuming that this other crossbow is here in case you didn't pick it up at Kendo's Gen Shop. Kendo's Gen Shop? Gundo's Ken Shop. No, if you didn't pick it up at Kendo's Gun Shop, it would have been right there. But I don't know why it's still there, even if you've picked it up. To me, that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. These guys are all individually incredibly easy to dodge. I don't know how I got hit by that guy, but yeah, I'm usually very good at avoiding the people in this courtyard. Including Misty there. She's one of the more interesting zombies probably in the entire series, because she's the only one that I can think of that actually has a name. I mean, it's a fan name, but it's a name that has stuck. Apparently it's from the speedrunning community, like the early speedrunning community. Nicknamed that zombie Misty because she kind of looks like Misty from Pokemon. Which, fair enough. I don't quite see it. Her hair's kind of similar. But, yeah. I don't quite see it, but I do love the name Misty. I think that's a great little name for her. If you check the helicopter, you do get some bullets, which is nice. There's a lot of, like, hidden bullets in this game. Like, just hidden items. There's just things where if you just kind of, you know, examine something. Sometimes in this game you actually have to examine things twice. Like, I think in Leon's playthrough of this, that guy, if you check that body in the hallway twice, you'll get bullets. I don't think that's the case for Claire. And even if it was, the crows in that area are very annoying. And I would not deal with them just for, you know, some bullets. So I think what I'm going to do here is take out one singular herb and heal myself. We're also going to put the wheel away, put the you know, the typewriter away. So yeah, that is what I was talking about before, where you don't really get any ammo pickups for the bow gun, but there's still a workaround. Like, that's not technically an ammo pickup. We picked up an entirely separate bow gun, but it came with like 16 bolts, so that's technically an ammo pickup. So yeah, it's weird. Those zombies are gone. Again, you never needed to even look at them. One of the classic stock sound effects there, that scream. That's still, I'm still hearing that getting used. I remember that got used on an episode of Heroes. Like, one of the first episodes of that show. Remember that show? Man, what a great first season. Too bad they never did any more. So yeah, just insert these guys. Doesn't matter which one goes where. But take the key. Why did I not put the ink ribbons away? Oh no, I did. There's just a hidden pair of ink ribbons in this game, or in this room. One very regrettable part of this game in particular is that there are no live action cutscenes. Very sad. You know, the CG is definitely much improved. And for the time, it was like groundbreaking. It was like insanely good looking. I remember even when I first played this, when they put this on GameCube, like the FMV cutscenes were like really good looking. Still, like the CG intros and stuff. I think that's another thing that the Dreamcast does better, is that the Dreamcast version of the FMV cutscenes, I think, are higher resolution and they're in their correct aspect ratio. Whereas in this game, like the intro cutscene and whatever other CG cutscenes, I believe are zoomed in a bit to fit the game's aspect ratio, or they're just zoomed in just in general, I don't know. But the Dreamcast version, from what I can understand, is the only version that has the, like, full what they're supposed to look like, other than the PC versions. Which, by the way, I've never played the PC versions, but I've watched enough people play them that I love the company that made those ports. They have one of the greatest like opening jingles for any company. The company's name is Source Next, and every time you boot it up, it just goes Source Next. It's great. It's really fantastic. I'm gonna say, like, I feel like we are breezing past the RPD. Like, this is flying by. And in the remake, you're in here for quite a while. They do break it up and kind of have you go into other areas, you know, the basement, but that's still technically part of the RPD. So it's, you know, it is what it is. Now, I took out my grenade launcher because there is a mighty need for this. There's a very annoying room coming up that we need to go in that has maybe like 20 zombies in it, which is not fun. Also, every time I go down that staircase there and step in front of that window, I get a little bit of PTSD where I'm like, oh god, Nemesis is going to go through there. Because that is obviously what happens in Resident Evil 3. Get the hell off of me, asshole. Thankfully, I'm fine. Also, something that I constantly, always forget to do when I'm playing this game and Resident Evil 3 on the GameCube is go into the control options and hit auto-aim on. Because this game gives you the option to turn on or off auto-aim. And it's very frustrating when it's not on because it plays like the first game, which is bad. I did have my GameCube memory card wiped, like, quite a few years ago now. So that is probably contributing to why the settings aren't quite there. I will... Spoiler alert, I'm never going to develop that film. I don't know why I even picked it up. The only thing you need to do in this room is grab this. I technically didn't even need to kill those other two guys. So I wasted some ammo in here. Our big objective right now, that isn't really going to take a whole lot of time to complete, is to build a bomb. Oh, hey, Marvin. That was always one of my favorite cutscenes in the classic series. I just love seeing Marvin, like, turn into a zombie. And off goes his head. So the only thing we needed in here was the detonator, which is nice, but now our inventory is completely full, so anything else in here we cannot pick up. But there's a nice detail in the remake, because in this room, there's a banner over here. Am I going to show it? Yeah, I'm going to show it. At least I'm going to try to. There we go. It says Welcome Leon, but there's two L's, which is obviously not how you spell welcome. And in the remake, there's a big banner up top that says Welcome Leon, but in between the L and the O, there's a space. And on the ground, you can see an extra L, where it looks like they put welcome with two L's up there, realized it was spelled wrong, and then removed the L. It's such a nice little detail. So that's basically going to do it for this video. We got a lot accomplished. I know it always seems like you're not really doing much when you're just running through these areas, but we got quite a lot done. We're going to put that in its final resting place. That's never coming out. And we're going to save. I don't know why I didn't take out any ink ribbons. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, where we're blowing this dang place up.